Today I'm breaking down all Bowman releases from 2019 to the present. I am on tier list and I'm going to give them a grade of Elite, A, B, C, or D, with Elite obviously being the highest rank and D being the lowest. Now I have the comps for each product right now, and I've also got the top 5 players that I like from each product and some other notable guys. Now, one thing to consider is I didn't really factor in price for each release. So the ones that rank the highest, you're probably going to pay a higher premium for, but the result from those releases is pretty crazy when you look at some of the guys in it. So we're going to kick this thing off with 2019 Bowman, and I gave 2019 Bowman a rank of Elite. The hobby boxes with one auto are $860 around, $860 right now, and they include Wander Franco, Julio Rodriguez, and Marco Luciano as the 3 big chases. And I consider Franco and J-Rod to be elite out of that release. Now there's Diego Cartaya, Ronnie Mauricio are the other 2 guys that I put in the top 5 of that release, and some other notable players are Blaze Alexander and Estieri Ruiz. But it's a really solid release. But the thing you got to consider is if you don't pull a J-Rod or a Wander, you're going to be in trouble financially wise, because the price of a hobby is $860. Next, we're going to check out 2019 Bowman Chrome, which comes right around $430 right now. My top 5 out of this release was Alejandro Kirk, Noelvi Marte, or Elvis Martinez, Brian Rocchio, and Alexander Canario. And other notable players were Wenceel Perez, who has really picked up some steam right now in the 2022 season. And his autos are only like $5 right now. So there's a little sleeper buy for you guys who are watching the video. But I gave 2019 Bowman Chrome a ranking of a C, just because there's not many elite names in that product compared to what 2019 Bowman has. 2019 Draft is a pretty solid product in my opinion, but the only thing you have to consider in this video is when I'm comparing the Bowman hobbies with the Bowman Draft jumbos, the amount of autographs is off. So each Bowman Draft jumbo will have 3 autos, and each Bowman hobby will only have 1 auto. So the draft boxes are already more expensive just because they don't make a 1 auto hobby box like in Bowman. So keep that in mind when you look at the price. 2019 Bowman Draft is around $750 right now per jumbo. Like I said, you get 3 autos in that box. And they've got some really, really big names in this release. Corbin Carroll is one of my favorite minor leaguers. Gunnar Henderson, who's destroying AAA right now, and he's super young. Adley's in the big leagues, Riley Green's in the big leagues, and CJ Abrams just got traded to the Nats, so his path became a little more clear. But those were my top 5, Carroll, Henderson, Rutschman, Green, and Abrams. And other notable guys are Andrew Vaughn, Spencer Steer, Josh Young, and Michael Busch and Brett Beatty. So there's a lot of names in 2019 Bowman Draft, and it's pretty reasonably priced at $750 right now for 3 autos. So 2019 Draft gets an A for me, just under, you know, what 2019 Bowman brings to the table as far as personnel wise. All right, the next product we're going to look at is 2020 Bowman, which comes in around $500 per hobby box. And my top 5 in this release are Bobby Witt Jr., Jeremy Pena, Miguel Vargas, Anthony Volpe, and Andy Pages. And Bobby Witt Jr. and Jeremy Pena are already having some pretty solid success at the MLB level. And, you know, Miguel Vargas got called up earlier this week, but he was sent back down to AAA. And I think between him and Anthony Volpe, there's a pretty high ceiling between those 2 players, especially being in big markets like LA and New York. Other notables are Everson Pereira, who's kind of having a comeback year. Brennan Davis, who's been hurt pretty much all year, and just his value's tanked. I think his base autos are like $50 right now, because I just put him on my top 150 bucks list yesterday. Jacob Amaya, Jaron Duran, Ezekiel Duran, and Vidal Brujan. So there's some pretty quality names in this release. And 2022 Bowman for me gets a B. It's just not quite as solid as 2019 Draft. But for $500, you have a chance to hit some guys that could be potential superstars. And with the long-term hold in sealed wax, that's what you're looking for. It only takes one superstar in that release to make that product go. If you look at 2019 Bowman, it's got Wander and Julio, and those guys have enormous ceilings. They have superstar potential if Franco could stay healthy. But that's going to elevate the price of that with just those two guys, because there's probably about 60 other autos that are worth $5 in that release. So we're looking for one guy to really make it out of each release, and that's what's going to keep each release alive. And that's, I guess, kind of how I ranked these things, which release had the most superstar potential to be really valuable down the road in a long-term hold. Next, we're going to go with 2020 Bowman Chrome, and this product is really starting to gain some traction as far as their checklist goes. When it first released, I was kind of like, man, this checklist is rough. And 2 years ago, a lot of those guys weren't where they are today. And now, you've got Vaughn Grissom, who was recently called up. You got Michael Harris, who came out of nowhere and is performing exceptionally well with the Braves right now. You've got Gabriel Moreno and Francisco Alvarez. And one of my top 5 was Oswaldo Peraza. So there are some big guys that kind of snuck up on this release. And that happens. I've got one release that's ranked as a D right now, but in 2 years it could be an A. So that's what's fun about the sealed wax game, is you keep an eye on who is making a big splash, and it's just like prospecting. When the hype gets really high, it's a good time to sell. So I gave 2020 Chrome a rank of a B, just because of the value it's picked up to over the last year. There's some other notable guys on that release as well. Michael Massey, Luis Angel Acuna, Luis Matos, who's really struggling this year, and he was about a $150 base alt, I think, coming into the season. But he's kind of tanked. If you want to take a risk, it could be a dip buy type of guy. You got Logan O'Hoppe, Ivan Herrera, who's probably going to be the next big catcher in the Cardinals organization when Yadier leaves. And Wilder Patino's a guy, he's kind of a fringe guy for me, with tons of speed and a pretty high ceiling if you can make more contact and hit a little bit better in the next year or two. So we're down to 2020 Bowman Draft. The last release of 2020 for the year. Draft is always the last release for each year. And it's a $700 product right now. And I ranked 2020 Draft with an A. So the last 2019 Draft and 2020 Draft both received an A for me. The price, I said, is $700 for a jumbo 2020 Draft right now. And it's got my favorite hitter in the minor leagues, Jordan Walker, Spencer Torkelson, Robert Hassel, Zach Veed, and Colt Keith make up my top 5 for that release. Some really big names right there. Walker has just incredible potential. He could be a guy that carries that product alone. So that, like I said before, if we can just get 1 or 2 guys that have really excellent careers in the major leagues, it can really carry a product. So I gave that a rank of an A, and there are some other guys in the notables list that I put down who could also, come up to be really special players. Pete Crow Armstrong, Nick York, Tyler Soderstrom, Jordan Westberg, Justin Foscue, Evan Carter, Austin Wells, and Alec Burleson are all some pretty big names from that 2020 Draft release. So I gave that a A grade. We're going to jump into our 2021s now with 2021 Bowman, and this is the lowest ranked release I have on this list, but it's also the cheapest. 2021 Bowman hobbies are going right now for about $175. It's by far the most affordable Bowman rip you can find anywhere right now, and it's not a terrible product. For that price, it's a pretty solid product at $175, but the checklist is just kind of weak in my opinion right now. But I gave 2021 Bowman a rank of a D. But like I said, if you want a fun rip for cheap, this is the product to go to for $175. It's by far the cheapest rip you're going to find for any Bowman release. And you've got a chance to hit some pretty big names. Adiel Amador, Blaze Jordan, who's really having a great season. Jose Salas, who I think is going to be a pretty good player down the road. Kobe Mayo struggling a little bit this year, but big time bat. And Kevin Alcantara, who has a pretty high ceiling with his power and size. So those are my top 5 out of 2021 Bowman. And some other notables are Angel Martinez, Brian Buelvis, Jeremy De La Rosa, who's really popped up this year, Jose Rodriguez, and Johan Rojas. So if you guys want a fun rip, check out 2021 Bowman. It's only $175 a box. And that sounds crazy, only $175, but the price of Bowman's just gotten so outrageous lately. It's pretty crazy that $175 seems cheap. We're going to go to 2021 Bowman Chrome. Now, this is a product that I really liked a lot more than I do now last year. A lot of the guys that I really anticipated having great 2022 years didn't. Christian Hernandez is not having a great year. Christian Santana is not having a very big year. And those were some of the guys, like Coleman Ayers, all the hype guys. They didn't really break out yet as far as the 2022 season goes. So this kind of lost a little bit of stock for me, and I ranked it a C. And at the beginning of the year, I probably would have ranked this product an A, but like I said, the guys on the checklist just aren't really panning out yet. They're all very young, so it may be a longer hold before we can get some value out of 2021 Bowman Chrome. But my top 5 are Ezequiel Tovar, Christopher Morel, who's having a great rookie season. Tovar had an amazing 2022, but he's hurt right now, and I think that's kind of knocked his stock down because he's not getting any attention on the bench. But it's got Liover Peguero, Jordan Diaz, the biggest sleeper in minor league baseball, hands down. The dude mashes. His autos are $5 and nobody cares. So check Jordan Diaz out if you've made it this far in my video. And my last one is Emmanuel Rodriguez on that top 5. Other notables: Tyler Gentry, Miguel Bleis, Malcolm Nunez, Eggy Rosario, Christian Santana, Christian Hernandez, and Brian Ramos. So it's a good product with a cheap buy and for $300, and there's still some really young guys. I think Christian Santana is still 18. I think Christian Hernandez is right around 18 too. And there's some other really young guys. With every Bowman Chrome release, there's always going to be a ton of really young players because it focuses more on the international draft class. So keep an eye on that product. It's a product that could, really go through the ceiling in the next year or two, or it could just be a dud. So our next release is going to be 2021 Bowman, 2021 Draft. Our last draft release that we've had recently. And I gave this a rank of a C. So I don't think it really checks up compared to 2020 draft and 2019 draft, but it's still, C for me, is a pretty solid release. It's not a total flop. It's around $600 right now for a box of 2021 draft. And it's got Jordan Lawler in it. And I really think he could carry this product. And he could make this product, a B or an A release, if he continues to perform in the minor leagues. And when he gets called up, I think he's got a lot of superstar potential. But right now, he's in high A, and he's adjusting. I talked to a guy in my Discord. I was like, Lawler's numbers are kind of down in high A right now. He was like, dude, the last 6 games, he's just absolutely raked. So it probably won't be long before we see Lawler in Double A. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I really think he's going to start the year next year in Double A, and he's still super young. I think he's like 20.2 years old. So he's a guy that could carry this product. Christian Encarnacion Strand, one of the most underrated power hitters in all of baseball, is in my top 5 here. Henry Davis, Marcelo Mayer, who just got promoted to High A, and Colton Cowser, who is having an extraordinary year in Double A right now. He struggled kind of a little bit in 2021, but he's really turned on the burners in 2022 in Double A. Other notable are Sal Frelick, Kyle Manzardo, who's just stroking right now with the Tampa Bay Rays, Joe Mack, Alex Benellis, Benny Montgomery, and Carson Williams. So not a bad release. Pretty cheap rip for 3 autos for $600. Is the cheapest 3 auto rip on this list. And we're going to jump into our last product, 2022 Bowman. Most recent release, and our next release is going to be 2022 Bowman Chrome, and I think that's going to launch in like September or October. But our latest release right now is 2020 Bowman, and it's the big hot release because it's the most recent. So my top 5 on here are Curtis Mead, Elly De La Cruz, Jackson Chourio, who only has a first, no auto, James Wood, and Oscar Colas. And on this list, there are 3 potential superstars that I see already in the top 5. I don't know if Curtis Mead's ever going to be a superstar, but he's just so consistent. He's going to be a really good player. He doesn't really have that wow factor like 3 of the other guys do on this list, but he's still my favorite player out of this release because he's a safe bet. He's hit his whole way through the minor leagues, and he's going to be a very solid big leaguer as a floor. But if you look at guys like Elly De La Cruz, who possess multiple offensive tools, speed, hit, and power. Jackson Chourio the same way, James Wood the same way. When you think about guys like that, they've got the 3 big things that you look for as far as pumping up a hobby. product goes. They've got, like I said, the speed, the power, and the contact skills. So those are 3 guys to watch, and I'm pretty sure, I know Trio is going to have an auto in 2022, Bowman Chrome, because I've already seen it, but he has a first right now. But De La Cruz, Trio, and Wood are just huge ceiling guys right now, and they're kind of keeping this product afloat. Other notables in this release are Ceddanne Rafaela, who's just got a first, no Chrome auto, Valera, Warming Bernabel, Colson Montgomery, Dustin Harris, Felix Valerio, Joan Kenzie, Noel, Averson Arteaga, Oswaldo Cabrera, Lennon Sosa, and Jack Sawinski, who's having a pretty solid rookie year right now. I gave this product 2022 Bowman an A. And depending on what guys like, De La Cruz, James Wood, and maybe Curtis Mead does become the superstar bat for the Tampa Bay Rays. Depending on what they do in the next couple of years, this product could easily jump to an elite release, or like I said, it could fall if De La Cruz continues to strike out, or James Wood has an injury. You can really never tell in the prospecting world of things. So. This is my first tier list video. I'm trying to do some more tier list videos like this. If you guys have something you'd like me to rank, put that in the comments, please, and I'll try to do my best to do it. If you have like 10 prospects you want me to look at, or you want me to go over my top 10 shortstops on a tier list, these are fun videos for me, and I'm trying to keep them more laid back so I don't have to prep for like 10 hours to make a video. If you guys enjoy this content, please subscribe to my channel. Head over to my Patreon page and check that out. I've got a ton of stuff over there. I'm also giving away tons of free cards from BRG on my social media platforms. I really appreciate all of you guys that support me on Patreon and support the channel. A special shout out to my level 3 patrons: Tom Barda, Max, Brad, Gary D. Childers, Just Dingers Breaks, 909 Sports Cards at Instagram, and Kenny Winkles. And y'all have a great day.